Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice. As we continue things here, we're currently in bracket number 1, and we're about to finish things up. What's interesting is we have a couple of games going on as well from bracket number 2, which we can kind of give you a few updates as to what is going on. Dan, I believe you're currently in souL versus Guru.
Yes.
Began.
Well.
Or is it commenced?
Began?
Began. It has began. It has begun.
It has begun, or you could tell me to begin. So here we are.
Thanks.
All right, so yeah,
cut it out, guys.
Guru just took down Scarlet, right? So you're like, well, I mean, maybe he's just going to start killing everyone in ZVZ. But souL is doing a good job right now as far as this goes. Like, Guru is not super far behind, but there was some early pressure. As you can see, this hatchery. It got attacked. It took a lot of damage. It didn't go down, so he defended that. But then there was like roaches that stopped his counterattack. Guru hasn't been able to do any damage, so he's just a bit behind. And the big thing that's happening in this game right now is that souL got up into the layer a little bit quicker and is going Spire. So that's where souL might be able to gain a big advantage.
Okay, thank you very much, Artosis. Let's check in now with Todd, who has Mana vs. Zanster game at number 3. How's the supply looking?
It's plummeting for mana right now. Zanster is about to hit a massive attack. He's basically maxed out if he can jump into the game, guys. Stasis Ward trapped a couple of units there. Perfect timing, guys. Perfect timing to jump into this game. He's literally morphing Banelings in the face of danger right now, is Zanster, with the quicker remax. Thermalance wasn't done yet either. Look at these poor guys trying to run away. And I think our Swedish player there might be moving on to the next rounds.
Powered through the storms. Yeah. Very impressive stuff. So far, the Zugs have been doing well here in bracket number 2. Thank you very much for the update, Todd, as they're just going to get chased away. Zanster with a big supply advantage there. Rotterdam, you were looking at
I've got nothing. Let's just get to the point. I've got absolutely nothing. Now, what I do have is the final moments of True vs Optimus. Indeed, it ended in typical True style. Lots of blinks, lots of banelings. I kind of felt, looking at the scenario, that I really thought that Optimus was able to hold there. He had a couple of Hellions, but the most awkward thing I think for a Terran player is if you've got Hellions on the south side, Links in the middle, and Hellions on the north side. That's where it becomes so hard to micro, right? Because you got to micro up and down with units in between. And in the end, True just had a few too many Links and Banes, so True took that series. And right now, I am patiently waiting for Trust versus Zero.
Fantastic. So, well underway. Now we're going to find out, though, of course, as we have a TVT, a qualifying match for the round of 24, as Poland against South Korea. souL is going to be going up against Ryung.
I am so... this is what happens when you have two hype casters together. This is what happens. You go. By all means.
I am so hyped for this match coming up. We've been following these players for a little bit here, and the upsets that keep happening. I think it could happen again here with Yoan, for sure.
I agree with you completely. souL, the souL train, let's call it. His run in this tournament has been pretty incredible. I absolutely see him being able to take the series, but to me, it's more of a question of how is it going to happen? And to me, it feels like it is going to be aggressive. It's going to be messy. I feel like that's what we're going ahead of us because of the way that souL's been showing in these series. Is, he's not afraid to turn it into a bare knuckle fist like boxing match in a mud pit. You're dipping your fists in honey and then dipping it in glass, and you're just fighting like
the fact that he can take out a player like Stats and Stefano. I mean, I feel like he can take on anybody at this point in time.
No one's safe.
I think Ryung, obviously, he's old school. He's a storied player, but he may be meeting his match. A lot of the new young blood in StarCraft 2 is starting to, are taking out the veterans. It's kind of crazy. And it does look like we are about to hop in this game. Ryung versus souL. Introing our first player in the upper right, in the red. He is souL.
And the bottom left, the blue Terran hailing from South Korea. This is Ryung. Now, everyone in Twitch chat, you put a 1 for Tasteless' intro and a 2 for Maynarde's intro. Which one you liked better?
That's right.
We'll do a poll at the end.
Got to get to the bottom of that. Right. I don't know what to expect here as far as playstyle with souL. A lot of the other matchups he was winning, it was not.
It was
quite
TVT,
at least for what I was getting to follow.
It was non-kosher, like aggressive, very, very sort of like an early pressure-based sort of builds that he went for in those series. That's certainly how he dealt with stats. We saw that bunker rush in Game 3, Game 1, you know, Cyclone pushing, that sort of thing, fast medevac play. But this is TVT. This is a different matchup, a different beast. And in fact, souL's going for a pretty macro opening. He's going single gas here. So this actually looks like a fast expand build from souL, whereas Ryung with the second gas is looking to power onto that fast factory, fast starport.
So, coming into this, we have to bear in mind that it's already been a long day for these players. Ryung is somebody who's experienced these marathon tournaments and should be ready and, you know, kind of know how to control his energy and march forward. souL had a very strong start, of course, today, or he wouldn't be this far in the tournament. But the truth is we don't know if he can actually last, especially against a player like Ryung. Ryung tends to have very long games, especially in TVT.
Yeah, and TVT is his best matchup historically, and even I would say right now in the online tournaments that I've seen Ryung play, he is looking very, very solid. But of course, this is, you know, here at the ESL studios in Poland, this is a different beast. This is the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship here in Katowice. We see the factory play here, but of course, as expected, a quick expand from souL, and Ryung's going to have a fast starport. Now, the power of that is you can get things out like a Raven, you can get a fast Liberator out, you can get a fast medevac out. The world is your oyster. You get you shoot through the tech tree nice and fast here at the cost of economy, and it's up to souL to basically hold on, because there's not going to be too much of a chance for him to get across the map and do damage for a little bit.
That's right. souL has to brace for impact, and if he can actually deflect everything that Ryung is going to try to throw at him, I think there should be an overall tempo advantage here for him in that case. Now, Ryung's expanding not far behind, so there's nothing crazy or all-in-ish about this, but it is the burden of the starport opening player to try to do some damage, to try to slow down and curb the progress, in this case, of our red player's souL. At the same time, though, if that does not end up being the case, there is more momentum here for souL. He can certainly start to power up a little bit more quickly and may have more initiative in the middle of the map.
Yeah, once this orbital's done, he'll shoot up there in the workers. But Ryung's just pushing now with a couple units, but the defender's advantage is here for souL. He also has that bunker on the high ground, which is about to finish up, and he should let that finish just for safety here. Can always salvage that later. TVT's sort of in a weird spot at the moment. There's a lot of stuff that's viable, but it's been very, very popular to go for a lot of cyclones. Let's try and make a big ball of cyclones work, certainly for the, you know, the Korean meta. But we're seeing a pretty like old school sort of quote-unquote regular TVT here, with Cloak Banshee being the choice from Ryung, and souL doing the exact same thing back at home. Neither player going Viking first either, before before Banshee. They're going immediately into Banshee. So
this could turn into a bit of a slugfest right away then.
Yeah.
Let's also keep in mind, I don't think that Ryung has a lot of information about souL coming into this match, right?
No, they haven't played together yet, I don't think so.
I believe that's correct, and certainly with the sheer volume of great players that we have in this tournament, I don't think Ryung was expecting to be facing off against somebody like souL, especially the bracket that souL climbed up through. So this may be more of a feeler build coming out here from Ryung to try to get an overall read on how exactly souL plays this matchup.
Yeah, Game 1's going to tell a lot to each player about how they play and what to expect as they go into Game 2. It's pretty mirrored build so far. I mean, we saw a faster expand from souL. We saw a faster up the tech tree path for Ryung, but both players doing pretty much the same thing, going into Marine Tank, only one Cyclone to defend, not using, not massing Cyclones here, and going into Cloak Banshee for harassment. It's very, very similar.
Okay, so we're about to have these Banshees come in, Cloak about 5 seconds away from finishing, and we really need to see how many SCVs are in fact going to be picked off. Of course, you want to try to bank as much energy as possible before you cloak. And in this case, Ryung's going to cloak the moment he walks in. So we're going to have the initial SCV that was constructing the barracks taken out. And already the damage is being dished out now across the map on the other side. Same story here for souL. Yeah. He's already getting a lot of worker kills, and it looks like it's going to be 6-5 for now, but that's evening up.
And he's not really pulling SCVs away from the Banshee either, because there's not a whole lot of choice here, and neither player wants to pull the SCVs back too far and deny all his mining time. But I got to say, that's a lot of damage done by both players here to each other's mineral lines. I mean, of course, in the end, with Ryung with more workers, is ahead for now. But there's a Raven coming out for Ryung as well, so he's looking to shut down his tech, whereas souL's kind of going down the Viking path here. He doesn't have mobile detection.
That's right. So both these players economically bruised and battered. We had an additional SCV kill that was taken there, and it looks like there's still some more denied mining timing. So overall, I'd say souL is hurting a little bit more, but if we go back to the build orders they opened up with, we said basically Ryung had to do some damage early on with that, especially if souL's going for a quick expand build.
Interference matrix there on that Banshee, avoiding cloak and making it pull out there. souL also got supply blocks because Ryung's Banshee did something very like you don't see it happen every day. The Banshee killed a supply depot, and souL is dealing with that, dropping three depots back at home, which means that Ryung can continue to build SCVs and continue to build units while souL's just sitting there, hoping that his Banshee does more damage, which to be fair, it is.
Okay, the Ravens now coming up here. I think this is the twilight of this Banshee harass. And there's actually another Banshee moving out across the map here at the bottom. So as far as upgrades go, both players getting Stim. It does appear that souL is going to have his Stim upgrade before Ryung. There is a chance that he might try to initiate some kind of map dominance on the map or a fight in the middle of the map if Ryung's out there. And we see that the beginnings of that now with this push coming out, embarking across the map. And we may have Ryung get contained here. You got to be careful. 2-base versus 2-base, you generally don't manage to push through and actually get a kill.
I mean, if the interference matrix gets used on this Banshee, then I can see, you know, the push from souL working very, very well. But I think if there's enough energy for one, he can actually lock down the tank and prevent it from firing, which can give him some freedom to be able to push this back, this contain from souL, or this aggression from souL, because he has tanks of his own, he has a Cyclone still, and a Bowl of Bio, which is, you know, going to have Stim, but a lot later than souL here.
Did Medivacs actually merge up with this army here for souL in the middle of the map? I'm actually... No, okay, that was a tank then that was moving across the map, because these Marines are all bruised, which means the fight can end very quickly. I mean, a theme in Terran versus Terran is that both races deal damage really fast, and sometimes just being in the wrong position or not having just the right unit comp means the game can end in a matter of seconds.
Well, these tanks giving away the position here to Ryung, as the vision of that Banshee gives range for that tank to be able to shoot down one of the Marines. So Ryung knows that he has, you know, an army of souL out his front door here. So this might cause him to, you know, freak out a little bit. He drops a scan, he sees what he's up against. So now that the Medivacs are here, souL feels like he can continue the pressure. But Ryung has that Raven, he has those Vikings, and that is a big difference here.
Yeah, it looks like these rocks are about to be torn down. I'm not sure why this one lone Cyclone is moving out in this direction. Basically, souL has set up what we call a soft contain, where that location we're looking at right now, just south of the screen, that expansion, it's going to be tough for Ryung to take that, since souL can come down the ramp and bully him out of that position. And as we see souL kind of set up a pretty deadly attack opportunity, souL's expanding behind this.
Yeah, he has a third on location here. Ryung has his third, but it's not on location. It's being stopped. But that said, though, that is a 16 Marine drop here. That has Stim pack, and that is a lot of potential damage output from this drop here from Ryung. The Viking goes down, and the third is under pressure. What does souL do? He pulls his army out, and he's going back home. Meanwhile, it looks like the CC's taking a fair bit of damage. He can even potentially pick up a tank here.
All right, it seems like souL's just trying to buy some time with the tank and a few Marines. Is a great juggling there. Ooh. He actually picks up both tanks, but the threat of the Marines on the low ground is still very, very real.
Yeah.
souL wants to try to get a few more reinforcements come up here and drive this out. And in fact, souL does manage to keep that third base working, while Ryung is just now lifting a CC off and landing here, playing a game of catch-up.
Yeah, both players are doing good damage to each other here and there. I gotta say, I like Ryung's position a lot more. He has a much better upgrade lead at the moment. Plus one armor is on the way for souL, but 2-2 is on the way for Ryung. And when it comes to Marine versus Marine, or Siege Tank Marine versus Siege Tank Marine, that makes a huge difference for your ability to tank shots and deal damage.
And that's where this game could get flipped on its head. Ryung is now moving out, and there's a possibility that souL actually gets sandwiched here. We see the Stim coming forward. Beautiful play on the tanks. And this means these Marines do not have the backup fire to take on this fight.
This drop coming back into play with that lockdown. A beautiful move from Ryung, getting rid of all the tanks of that push from souL. And that's the win taken out of his sails. That's the defensive capability of this tank's completely gone now. And this opens a big window for Ryung to come for a crushing attack.
I think souL overstayed his welcome there in the middle of the map. The supply says it all. It's 119 to 149. And souL is still itching to push out. He might be able to intercept this attack. We'll have to see when the Stim and the Siege mode are activated. As souL comes forward, identifying, maybe this is a little bit too risky, and he decides to back off.
Yeah, he does. Keep in mind, his Banshee here as well could potentially get off a tank or two, but it looks like he's going to try and head over to try and get some you know, harassment damage done. Meanwhile, Ryung has his own Banshees as well to try and lock down those tanks. He still has the Raven alive, but not enough energy for another interference matrix just yet.
This is really where Ryung shines. This chess game in the middle of the map. We actually see another engage coming up here right now. The siege tanks are in too much of a good position, and with that additional damage being output, he is going to run over souL's expansion.
Yeah, Ryung is up more than double the army supply of souL here, and even though siege tanks are a fantastic defensive unit, there's just way too much. GG! Ryung taking game number 1. Beautiful play there.
It rhymes.
It does.
Ryung takes game number 1. Poetry, just like the play we saw back there.
And that
or is that poetry or is that a limerick, what I just said?
I think it's both. Isn't it limerick also poetry? I don't know. It's too deep.
I didn't pay attention to school.
It's too deep.
So, Ryung, flexing his muscle there in that TVT. souL has a very limited amount of time to try to pull it back together as we go into game number 2. But before we hop into that game, we're going to throw it over to the desk and get updated on how this tournament's going overall. Oh, excuse me. We are not going to. We are not going to throw back over there. So
I thought you said studio, not no studio. My bad.
So we are going to hop then into game number 2 right away. So even less time actually for souL to try to recuperate from that. Now I will point out souL's openings seemed very clean. It wasn't until we saw the movement on the map, and that's where Ryung really dominates. Is he's just able to sandwich a lesser experienced player, corner them, pin them. And a lot of times, especially at that phase of a TVT, that's all you have to do. Get the proper engage, outmaneuver them. That's why the balance between mules versus scans is so important. Can you control the watchtowers? Are you able to peek anywhere and check? Because if you can figure out the trajectory of where their army is going to move on the map, and you can set up before that, you can almost always win in a crushing fight.
Yeah. We've seen a lot from souL in this tournament as well, just to take a step back. He's shown us that his TVZ is fantastic. He's beaten Bly, on his path here. He's beaten Stats. Of course, that was the biggest scalp that he took on the way here to his current position. But TVT is a different beast. And Ryung has always, historically, done very well in this matchup. And honestly, TVT's changed a little bit, but not a ton. The Ravens changed a bit, but Marines and siege tanks, the meat and potatoes, if you will, of the Terran compositions has really been quite similar. I mean, occasionally you'll see, Cyclones thrown in, but even then, if it comes down to Marine siege tank, that is Ryung's playground. He will generally, play those positions very, very well. And we saw that with the Raven being thrown in there, which was a game-winning maneuver, honestly. When he locked down those tanks, that was Ryung snowballing out of control.
Yeah, and I think you are 100% right about TVT has always sort of looked the same. And that was Ryung's strong matchup even in the early days of StarCraft, back when he was being mentored by Slayer's Boxer.
Yeah.
We're now going to go into this game number 2, and we're going to see if souL can come back. souL already crushing through players like Stats. Let's see if he can do the same here with Ryung. Introducing our first player in the upper right, in the blue, he is Ryung.
And in the bottom left, being a cheeky, naughty boy here, the hometown hero, the Polish Terran, this is souL. I like your cover, Tasteless. Looking forward to your album when it drops.
That's right. Oh, yeah, boy.
He's being cheeky.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky cheeky, Kaelaris.
Sneaky beaky.
So we're going to have some proxy Reaper play here. It could even be potentially, proxy something else, but it does look like double barracks from souL. So
okay, I'm not surprised.
Ooh,
but then again,
oh man!
Wow.
He is looking for proxies.
Yeah,
he is looking. He's looking around here.
I know you're hiding a barracks somewhere around these train tracks, but he's looking in the wrong spot. Every passing second is more time for souL to surprise his opponent.
That's the obvious proxy location, because there's a Reaper ledge there. It's a very, very short distance from the production facilities to the main base if there is proxy Reaper. souL's going to, he's going for the bamboozle play, for the 200 IQ proxy. He's putting it in a spot that's in plain sight, but also not really.
He's playing 4D underwater chess. And so far, it's working.
Oh, Marauder? Proxy Marauder? Oh, damn.
Wow. And look, Ryung's going to make the command center, right?
Yeah.
CV.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not. Okay, no, because he comes in here and
Yep.
he says, wait a minute.
Yeah, you wait a damn minute here.
Where are your buildings?
Right in his face. So he's dropping the bunker here. He's got his Reapers on the way. Reapers can beat Marauders because Marauders don't heal up. Reapers do. With the bunker, that makes a massive difference. Obviously, Marauders have that extra little bit of damage against that. But the Reaper can take that fight if you get more of them. Of course, Marines do the job as well. But souL is going very, very heavy pressure all in here.
Okay, now aggression like this, it is a double-edged sword. I mean, these buildings are all the way across the map, and if Ryung can just stabilize and slowly and steadily expand out, Ryung can be perfectly fine, and it seems like he's waiting for the exact moment. Now, keep in mind, he knows there's a proxy. He doesn't know exactly what kind it is yet until he spots this.
He'll see the Marauders now, and honestly, with that bunker, it doesn't actually matter what proxy it is. If you have that bunker, you can do a very, very good job, unless it's like a starport or something. The Reaper gets caught and taken out, and that's an extra little bit of damage there, so that's a nice pick off for souL.
So we're going to have these 4 Marauders coming up, 1 bunker here on the low ground, and the SCV is here to tank.
So
now, with
weird.
the SCVs in that repair range right there, oh, this is interesting. So
he's bunker rushing a bunker here.
Yeah, I looking at the distance of that, I was wondering if that actually connects there, but no, there's actually an odd no man's land here at the staircase leading up to the high ground. Well, but I feel like Ryung is actually keeping his cool so well.
He's doing a good job. Like, honestly, I don't see souL breaking him here. Like, the Marauders are good against things like Cyclones, Hellions, and tanks. But with the bunker zoning him out, then the tank will be able to just shell away at this this contain here. Ryung should be able to break out pretty shortly. He's going to get himself some high ground, and the Marauders are starting to do that damage. But again, that bunker has Marines in it. They do a lot more DPS.
Bunker rushing bunkers.
This is TBT right now.
Yep. And as you guys notice, Ryung already makes a backup bunker because there's no way to bunker push further than that.
Ooh.
Now he's going to come in here. He's actually taking out a decent amount of workers. I think he's going to try to curb right, and then now that he's inside the base, try to gun down as many workers as possible. He cannot try to take down the tanks of the Marines or he'll simply lose the fight. But already 10 kills here inside Ryung's main.
That is a ton of damage with his proxy from souL. He loses all his Marauders. The proxy has been dealt with for now. He is still producing Marauders from that contain. He's also making a Cyclone back at home with this expansion. There's going to be a little bit of SCV action as Ryung tries to delay that expansion, which would put souL further ahead at this point. We can see that the work count is in souL's favor. But Ryung has an army, he has a Liberator, and honestly, a Liberator is going to be a little bit annoying for souL to deal with for a bit.
So, ideally, souL would have wanted to do a little bit more damage, but I won't say he's in awful shape right now. You look at the worker count, 19 to 26. But this is not Ryung's first rodeo. He has been in these situations before, and this is really where you get to test the skill of a StarCraft player in a very unique way, because each of these games is very different. If you have someone who tries to hard counter you and cheese you out of a game, you have to know the exact algorithm to follow on how to take them down. Because there are some odd weaknesses for souL, like the fact that he has these buildings in the middle of the map. It's kind of an odd tech choice, and he ended up sacking a bunch of units to get workers. So we'll see how Ryung plays this from here on out.
Well, Cyclones are looking for any kind of counterattack or harassment here from this Liberator. There is still a couple Marauders down here, but he is denying some mining time. Obviously, the Cyclone will deal with the Liberator eventually. The Liberator's been damaged, so one lock-on maybe be able to finish it off. But we can see that Ryung is going for your regular Marine siege tank here. Cloak Banshee coming out as well. But souL's doing something pretty interesting. He's double expanding Tasteless. He's made a CC in the low ground, and he's making another one up here in the high ground. So he's going to try and shoot ahead in economy, and extend his lead here with economy. But I gotta say though, Ryung's army is just a little bit better rounded. souL's going for Cyclones with Marauders and Medevacs. That can get damage done, but I gotta say, I like Marine Siege Tank a lot better.
Well, there's a reason why you see it so often, is that it's just the tried and true unit comp. It has a lot of flexibility. It's kind of good against everything. Now, there is some risk here that this is going to be a little bit too greedy here from souL. And I mean, I feel like Ryung is not exactly a guy that you can cut corners against.
No, not really.
And here's another big win, as this Banshee is going to mow down these Marauders. I think souL wasn't quite factoring in that the Banshee might just come out and get them here too.
And now souL's army is a few Cyclones. That's what he has. So this push from Ryung is actually potentially devastating. He only has a little bit of army supply. In fact, a couple of these Cyclones of souL aren't at home. They're in Medevacs, looking to put damage down the other side of the map. And a reactor on that barracks is going to take forever to finish.
Yeah, this is a very uncomfortable moment here for souL. The Banshee comes in and is now getting confirmation of exactly what tech route souL went for. And we're going to find out if Ryung takes all this information, puts it together, and decides that this is where he wants to pull the trigger and try to come in here and do some damage.
And he is certainly going to do that. These tanks need to be dealt with, or this tank rather, no plural, from souL. The Banshee needs to come on down here and pick that thing off. And he does now. These tanks from Ryung with that extra air vision here are just starting to siege this natural. And souL doesn't have a whole lot to deal with this, Tasteless.
Yeah, he just doesn't have anything. That bunker was completely empty. You can't just get that for the aesthetics of it. You have to have that with Marines. So this was this was an easy push that is now forcing the command center to be punted up onto the high ground as Ryung is continuing to grow and develop economically. And honestly, it's not going to be easy for souL to break this either. He drops his Cyclones down here. The Banshee's still in the game doing damage.
They certainly are. But look at all the SCVs dying to these Marines, though, Tasteless.
Oh,
that's a ton of damage from Ryung.
That's it. GG.
Wow.
Ryung takes game number 2.
That's what I was worried about, man. I'm like, yes, you're trying to shoot ahead economically, but it's like almost a cheesy economic move to double expand there when you just don't have much to stop your opponent from killing you.
Yeah, I understand that whenever you do a proxy, there is, of course, risk involved, but I think maybe the follow-up was almost too much. It's not like he didn't do damage to Ryung, but like 2 command centers, you have your 3 Marauders in a bush waiting to ambush, something that's going to push out. That's... If Ryung plays a normal game, which he did, by the way, he just comes across the map and crushes through with a push. But I got to say, man, souL has had some fantastic games here today, and there really is no shame in losing to a player of the quality of Ryung. We're going to go to a short break. We come back. More StarCraft 2 action here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2018. We just had our final qualifying match of Bracket 1, and it was Ryung that advances. So first of all, congratulations, Ryung. It's been a long day for you, but finally you've qualified. So what's going through your head right now?
일단 축하드리고요. 이제 엄청 긴 하루였는데 드디어 진출한 소감 대해서 얘기해 주세요.
일단은 한국 선수가 4명이라 사실 오면서 한국 선수 4명 중에 3명이 뚫는다고 저는 생각하고 왔어요. 근데 대엽이나 성주가 반대편에 있었기 때문에 그 중에 한 명을 만날 거라고 생각을 했고, 그 둘이 경기를 하는 거 보고 둘 중에 한 명을 만나도 못 이기겠구나 생각을 했어요. 너무 경기 수준이 높아서. 근데 souL 선수가 이겨줘서 다행히 또 태태전을 할 수 있게 돼서 그런 부분에 기쁘고, 또 제가 엑시움 유니폼을 입고 왔는데 이 유니폼을 입고 왔는데 좀 못 들으면은 좀 많이 아쉬울 것 같았는데 그래도 기쁘네요.
So he says, first of all, when it came to this bracket, there were 4 Koreans. So I came in thinking 3 Koreans would advance, obviously, because 3 players would qualify. And as I was looking at the bracket, I noticed that on the other side, it was Stats and Maru. So I thought, okay, I'm definitely going to be playing one of them. And as I watched them play, they were playing so well that I was like, okay, I think I'm just going to lose. But thankfully, I saw that souL took down Stats for me. And I went on to play a TBT, which is what I'm really confident in. So thankfully, I was able to win. And lastly, I came here wearing my Axiom jersey, and I thought it'd be a huge shame to go out just like this. So I'm really, really happy that I was able to qualify and make it through. Now, in this series, in the second map, we saw that souL went for a cheese. Did that catch you off guard at all? Because he was able to kill a lot of your SCVs. 두 번째 경기에서 souL 선수가 이제 치즈를 했는데 SCV 또 많이 죽었어요. 그래서 그때 좀 당황했는지.
그냥 무시하고 들어올 때 당황했다기보다 이거 뭐지 그냥 끝났구나 생각하고 막았는데 맞고 나니까 일꾼이 너무 없는 거예요. 그래서 아 빌드를 잘 짰구나 역시 이렇게 생각했는데 그래도 그 다음 타 제가 한 방이 있다고 생각해서 네, 괜찮다고 생각했어요.
So he says, as soon as he came in and I saw that he had the cheese, I was like, what is this? I was so caught off guard by it. And I thought, okay, all I have to do is block this and I win. And so I did defend, but then I noticed that I had not a lot of SCVs left. So I thought, okay, I can just go and have a big push and hopefully I can do damage there. And that's why I was able to take that last win. And earlier, Ryung, you were commenting on how the foreigners have really improved. There's a lot of great non-Koreans here. Out of them, who impressed you the most? 일단 해외 선수들이 많이 이제 실력도 많이 늘었고 여기서도 많은 좋은 해외 선수들 많아요. 그래가지고 그 중에서 누가 가장 잘하는 것 같으세요?
작년에 와서 외국 선수들이랑 할 때랑 지금 할 때랑 제가 심리적으로 느끼는 게 많이 다른 것 같고 뭐 예전에는 뭐 세랄 선수나 LA 선수 한 명씩 잘하는 선수들이 있었다면 지금은 누굴 만나도 사실 무조건 이긴다 이런 느낌은 없고요. 워낙 한국에서 연습을 또 많이 하고 그 선수들이 여기 오면 또 다른 선수들이 그 영향을 받으니까 그래서 뭐 souL 선수는 저랑 게임 얘기를 좀 많이 하는 선수인데 확실히 도움을 많이 받는 것 같고 souL 선수가 그래도 제가 볼 때는 좀 나이 어린 선수들이 치고 올라올 가능성이 높을 것 같고 마지막 질문이면 제가 요즘 팀에 대해서 좀 오케이.
So he was about to say a comment about his team Axiom, but I said, let me first translate because his answer was already pretty long. So he says, first of all, I feel a huge difference from last year's Katowice and this one when it comes to the non-Koreans. Even psychologically, I can feel a difference. Last year, we only had a few that I think really impressed me, like StarCraft or Laser. But now I feel like no matter who I'm facing, I don't have that automatic mentality of, oh, I can immediately beat them. I don't sense that at all anymore. And I think that, you know, a lot of them are improving a lot by coming over to Korea and practicing and learning from the players there. And I think that in reverse, the Koreans are also learning from them. And souL is a player that I actually talked to, and I was able to talk about the game with him, and I've actually learned from him as well. And I think that he's improved a lot, and because he's a young player, I think that he has a bright future ahead of him. And last but not least, what do you want to say?
제가 요즘 팀에 이제 팀도 없고 그런 게 어렵게 게임을 하고 있는데 그런 와중에 좀 엑시온 시절이 많이 생각나더라고요. 그 시절에 좀 저희에게 조건 없이 열심히 좀 잘 해줬던 CEO들한테 감사의 의미를 표하고자 좀 유니폼을 입고 왔고 이 유니폼을 입고 IEM에서 힘이 닿는 데까지 최선을 다하겠습니다.
So he says, first of all, I came here wearing my Axiom jersey, and currently it's been hard for me because I'm teamless and I'm just trying my best, but it's not been the easiest. And lately, I've been thinking about my time when I was a part of Axiom, and back then I was so blessed with Total Biscuit and Jenna Bain. They gave me as a player such comfortable conditions to play in, and it was just such a great time. So in thinking of them and that time I had with them, I'm wearing this, and hopefully I can do a really great job here in their memory. So congratulations again, Ryung, on qualifying for the group stage. He'll be the third and last Korean Terran to make it out of bracket 1.
Heartwarming words there from Ryung, who is able to qualify through into bracket number 1. Well, from bracket number 1 into the round of 24. 3 Terrans from bracket number 1, and it's all hands on deck here at the analysis desk as well. We had a lot of action going on, and we've just kind of caught the tail end of it here. As we can check in with some of the laptops here, we do have Artosis currently in Mana versus Minato. You had souL actually in one of the series as well, and well, why don't you break some stuff down for us?
Well,
the
game ends.
Return to game.
Look at that supply, man. Okay, well, we just had 2 series finish. I guess that Ryung interview, as touching as it was too long for me to show anything, but
they went to it.
Yeah, that was a crazy one right there, Mana versus Minato. First, let me talk really quick about souL playing that series against Guru. He was able to take him out. souL just did in the game 2 a Zergling Rush, like a 12 pool, speed, Banes. Guru wasn't able to hold. Very straightforward. It only took a few minutes. And then this game, Maynarde rushed game 1 and, game 2.
Yeah.
You got some good stuff, Roddy?
I think I've got a little something.
Let's go to game 3.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go ahead. It's actually 1-1 between Trust and souL. So the Korean Pro is really bringing it to souL. All 3 games have been very similar. You look at this army and you look at running into a Zerg army, but souL already defended the first push, and if the first push doesn't work, well, the second push often doesn't do a lot better. Now this time there was Storm for the first time in the series, but I think you can see that souL just has too much. He has too much money. I mean, we can look at the soup as well. Todd, tell me, how's the soup?
Oh, it's looking fantastic for souL.
It's a delicious soup as well. souL defended the first push. This game actually started off with Trust building a Stargate right here, and there was like a little pylon over here. Didn't do that much damage though. souL scouted it quite early. Didn't lose too many drones. But yeah, the first game, Trust has kind of caught souL off guard. He had a solid start. Went for a 3 base, but only 46 probe all in, with a couple Archons, 1-2 Immortals, and just insane amount of Zealots. souL wasn't ready. He didn't have Bailing speed yet. He started morphing 14 Banes while the fight was going on. Game number 2, pretty much the same push, but this time 14 Banes were ready with speed before it. And I mean, this game, it's not totally over yet, James, but I think it's safe to say that souL's got this one pretty locked up.
That soup was a thick Hydralisk broth there from souL, continuing things on. Thank you very much, Rotterdam. Yeah, it sounds a bit bad. All right, so Todd, what do you have? You have Leigh versus True currently going on, yes?
I jumped into game 2, and it was like, when 2 aggressive Zergs go up against one another, apparently a Roach Warren is something that doesn't even exist. It's just Lings and Banes. Okay. Now we're in game 3, and I'm starting to wonder why True even made a lair. Like, he has 1 gas, that's it. I'm like, why have you got a lair? He started nothing from it. Whereas
it tricks your opponent, man.
Apparently. I mean, Leigh, he pulled a little bit ahead at some point, and now he's the one going for a Spire and mining from 3 gases. So I would say he's looking pretty good if he can survive this attack, which... Actually, like, he got really surprised by this. I thought he had way more Banelings back at home, but True might be able to kill him. That was the lair that tricked him. You were right.
Yeah, he thought he could tech up. This is
he made a lair and made nothing from it but Lings and Banes, and now he's killing Leigh. What is going on?
He doesn't have Bailing speed either, right?
That's true for you, man.
No, he made nothing from the lair. He only made the lair and stayed on 1 gas. Like, I've never seen this. This is next level mind games.
Hashtag mind games.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my God.
Cleans house. GG. There you go. 2-1 to True. He's able to move on through into a qualifying match up in that winner's bracket. And also we saw souL, you know, as you were kind of alluding to before, he's moved on through into a qualifying match as well. So we're going to go to a short break here, ladies and gentlemen. And when we return, I think we're going to have like probably one of the qualifying matches, in fact, here for bracket number 2 right now for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice.